Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to another weekly episode where we look at some book covers, talk about what makes them work, and then maybe offer a few ideas on what might make them better. I am M.L.S. Weech. I'm a self-published author. I also teach writing, photography, videography, graphic design. So for me, this is all about looking at really cool book covers and offering you the chance to vote on your favorite down below. Speaking down below, there are all kinds of things down there, and I would be very grateful if you clicked on them all. The bell notification, the like button, the subscribe button, all of those elements. The most meaningful one for me personally would be my author link to look at books that you enjoy and pick your favorite. So last week, we went through the book covers that would end the month of October. And now we're ready to name the winner from October so that we can then begin our November book cover of the month and voting on the overall October. So each week we pick one. After 4 weeks, we do a winner takes all, and that becomes a book cover for the month. And that's what we're doing here. And the winner from last month was Unbonded by D.K. Holmberg. And let me show it to you. I like the tonality in this cover. I like the spot color in this cover. That's what I'm after. And I really think that this is a very deserving way to round out the nominations for the October book cover of the month. And now we're going to look at the covers we selected for November. The first one we're going to look at is Saving Time by Jody Taylor. I like the color of this, and I like the line art. So as I was looking at it, I think it's a little weird that we got these Greek buildings and then some random elements and then something else on top of it. I don't actually understand a whole lot of it, but it's well done. It's like well rendered. I love the text and the way it's arranged, but mostly I like the color scheme and I like the line art that's done in the back. It feels like it meets the right tone, and that's why I felt it was worthy of being nominated for this week. The next book cover we're going to talk about is The Doorman by Victor Godinez. And as I bring it up for you, if this were just a silhouette on a blue landscape, I would not be as impressed. But when I look at these concentric circles, I think it was very interesting because part of me is like, do they all kind of go together or are they different locations? And that speaks to the title. It's interesting to look at. Like, you can stare at this a while and try to make out the details and try to fit the pieces together. And that's a very clever design scheme. The next book cover we're going to talk about is When Death's Away. So the amusing thing is when I look at this particular cover, I can't help but look at it and not think about Weekend at Bernie's, because I mean, it's a skull. Maybe it's death, but you know, there aren't these big, you know, it's not a big cowl. It's not, there's not a sigh visible. The guy's got a little fruity drink here and he's wearing like a vacation shirt. And so it really kind of speaks to the comedy of it. And that builds a lot of interest for me. The text is well placed. The art is well rendered. That sepia tone that we have over it, I don't mind it so much. I think some people will be frustrated by it just because they think it's frustrating or they think it's overdone. But in this case, I really think it's a cute, clever concept that really explains the humor of it without being on the nose with the title. And so that's always something good when people think outside the box in terms of how do we communicate an idea. The next cover we're going to look at is called the Esmeralda Flower, and that is by J.F. Rogers. So what this does well is the concept is called directional lines of force. So your eye goes to that lit up flower because the human eye goes to bright things. And then it goes right down into the title text. The flower in itself is well rendered. Sure, the background's a little harder to read, but we see the flower. We know the vines are just a background aesthetic emotion. The text is well done. Usually you do these flowery text script things, it goes way out of control and it's really, really hard to read. This is a very legible font, even though it's got a lot going on in terms of lines and shapes and that kind of thing. And it kind of feeds into the vines going around it, even if, you know, some are dark and some are gold. It's still a well-styled cover that leads the eye through the overall design. Every time I bring one up, there we go. The next one we're going to look at is It Calls from the Doors, and that's actually an anthology by River Publishing. I needed to read it before I share the screen. Once I have more than one thing up, it gets a little hard to see. But normally I don't like red in a design. But in this case, because it's a red tone and the text is still legible, it works for me. I think, you know, I'm interested because it looks like there's a bunch of people here, like they're little stick figure guys. I don't know if that's just my eye playing tricks on me or if that's like a real thing. So if you look down at the bottom and you look real close and you see a bunch of little stick figure people like the restroom symbols, let me know, because that's what I think I see. But what I see is this silhouetted figure by a door, this nice red tone going through it, and this cave opening taking the role of a door. It uses an awful lot of red, and while I can still read it and see it, I'd be interested to see what other people think with that much of one color. But it does have the white that kind of offsets it, so it's not like it's an unforgivable technique. It's just a very interesting color choice, and I wonder what you guys think. You can let me know in the comments down below. The next thing I'm going to talk about is Infinite Dark. Infinite Dark is by Harmon Cooper, and this gets into one of the pet peeves I have with design, and I'm going to bring it up. There are times when I'm shopping for a book or I'm looking for something, and I look at the big title, and I think that's the title. Cowboy Necromancer is the series title. The title of this story is Infinite Dark, and that will always frustrate me when the series title is bigger than the title of the actual book. Because when I go to a bookstore, I don't have a whole lot of series where I'm like, hey, give me the next in this series. But if I see a cover and I go, this is the name, I can ask for it by name. And not everyone who works at a bookstore like has all the books in the universe memorized. So sometimes you're like, hey, do you have that new book by Harmon Cooper? It's called Infinite Dark. Or they don't see Infinite Dark, they see Cowboy Necromancer, and they don't find the book you're looking for, and that can cause some problems. So what I like about this, I love the energy of this cover. The guns are cool. The color scheme on the title text is interesting, and just the sheer detail and energetic nature of the pose and the art to give this already charged kind of like, you know, people hear necromancer, they think of one thing, but you know, looking at this as a single piece, you can't help but look at it and not feel that degree of energy, and then associate it with the tone that a word like necromancer might bring up. So a very dynamic, energetic cover, even though there's not a lot of light going on with it. We got one more book cover to talk about. The last book cover of this week is Painting the Mists, and that's by Patrick Laplante, or at least I hope that's how you pronounce it. If I messed it up, please just let me know. So I loved there we go again. I loved the composition of this piece, where you have the snake coming around and it's about to snap on this guy's head. And the guy, I don't know if he's taping his arm or he's pulling off a weapon, whatever he's doing. He looks a little unconcerned with this giant snake, but it creates a nice circular pattern of directional lines of force. You look at the snake, the big yellow eye and the white teeth. It's probably a brighter element. He's gonna snap down on this guy, and we're gonna look there next because that's the direction he's taking. And then we're gonna go from that all the way around, and you're just gonna stay in this loop. So in another issue, I talk about looking at the flower and going down because that's good directional lines of force. And it is good. This is great directional lines of force because it keeps leading me around and around and around. It doesn't let me off the page unless I knowingly remove my eye from the page. So, it's a worthy addition to the book cover of the month. Or at least it will be if you decide on that being your favorite. We've chosen 7 covers, and now it is up to you to vote for your favorite. Vote for your favorite cover for the first week of November. Also, in the link down below, vote for your favorite cover in October. I am M.L.S. Weech, and I am always happy to have a chance to spend time talking about book covers with you. If you've enjoyed, please remember to click the like and subscribe and the bell notification. I will see you next week. Thank you so much, and God be with you.